Cool. That was a good one. Funny.
I think not
now for you.
It's time.
Uh-oh.
We need Lawyer G. Lawyer G, please
brief.
report to the courtroom. Lawyer G.
If I had a tie on, it would look better.
We'll have to work on that.
Legal brief.
Legal brief. We got some stories in the legal news.
In the legals of the news.
The news, which is legal.
That's legal. Okay. All right.
We're
let me read you the headline.
Everybody's
of this story.
clear. We're in the legal brief, right?
Let me read you the headline of this story.
All right,
here we go.
All right.
As the top pot producing state in the nation,
right?
California could be on thin ice with the federal government.
Well, what else is new?
Well, there's actually a good reason. If you've read this article, you'll see that they bring up some pretty good points, and I think
there's some definite stuff to kind of take into consideration with this. It's not just like California is being stupid. It's like there's a serious problem that's going to have to be addressed, right?
Here, I think a lot of people immediately get this sort of like, what? The federal government's on my ass, and California says it's okay, so it should be okay. But let's.
I need a robble.
Let's chill it for a second and come to some reality here and go look. Hey,
all right, bring us up to speed.
California grows a shit ton of cannabis.
That's the technical?
You can use shit ton.
How many shit tons?
It equals, I forgot how many actual tons it is, but it's a fucking lot.
We do know.
I think it's like 100 pounds times a shit ton. So you just multiply both shit ton times a shit ton, and then you get the real number. But
fortunately for everybody watching this,
RJ's got the real number.
LA
it's
Times,
11 million pounds.
LA Times, LA Times did the actual research here. And it says California produced at least 13.5 million pounds of marijuana last year. That is a lot. That is a lot of bud.
Pounds.
13.5 million pounds. More than 5 times more than 2.5, or 5 times more than the 2.5 million it consumed.
But by the way,
we only smoke 2.5 million, but we're growing it. It's just like
because
everywhere.
a lot of it's exported. But hold on,
and that's the problem.
Point out one thing is that California, and I'm pointing the finger. I'm doing the Harrison Ford right now. I'm pointing the finger to tell you.
You got the G finger.
California produces a lot of stuff agriculturally and exports a lot of it all over the place. It's literally the growing monster on this side of the country, and we're producing a lot of food for the rest of the country. So it makes sense that cannabis being grown here, yes, we have the environment and we have the conditions, we have the sun exposure. So yes, we're gonna produce.
That's kind of how commercial agriculture works.
That's how it works.
You grow it where it's optimal and you move it around.
So some people are arguing that like, okay, well, and this is for people in the business, RJ and I talk about this all the time. Is that like, okay, well, if we're growing so many pounds a month, right, but there's this excess amount or floating around, these millions of pounds floating around in the market, that's only going to drive the price down for your growers, and that's going to cut in profit. That's going to cut in
right. How are you ever going to get any money back? It's got to go somewhere,
right? Now, and there's another factor involved in what we were talking about recently too with this, in regards to this story, is that let's say all of this weight that's there. I mean, imagine now with the fires up north in Santa Rosa, that all that weight is gone. I mean, so many pounds were burned. I mean, so many grows were burned, legal and illegal,
sure.
Which. We're not condoning the illegal aspect of
Absolutely
it, but
not.
Just imagine all that weight is gone. So I don't know how the prices are going to be affected moving forward, but it is a big problem as far as federally concerned, because now they're going, hey, you want to do your deal in your own state? Okay, fine. But all this other money that's crossing the border via these vans and Camrys and people with like pounds and pounds and pounds in the trunk, and they're just like taking it over to New York, Tennessee, Kentucky.
Well, not even that far. I mean,
Vegas, Utah, Arizona.
Utah doesn't allow. But
they have a medical deal, I believe, but it's not recreational.
But
they didn't pass the last vote.
There lies the crux of the problem. Is like we can't, as an industry, operate as every other industry would. You know what I mean? Like,
why shouldn't we? We should be able to operate with the
but
same
we can't
rules
because
and
of
same kind of guidelines.
The only reason we're able to get what we can, and we got a story coming up here next, kind of. Wisconsin's trying to take a different approach to it, but that's the problem. Is it's coming down to a state by state basis.
Right.
You know, it's not legal in the federal ground. So if you're neighbored by a dry state, shall we call it, you know, and even if you're trying to get through to Colorado or somewhere that does have it, you know what I mean? Like, no, that's illegal.
Or even Canada. Didn't Melissa Etheridge or somebody was so had some entanglement at the border of Canada. So yes, traveling with it has always been an issue. But more importantly, that we can expect some serious crackdowns, is what these guys are saying. If there's a continuation of the exporting in such large quantities, which now that's
one of the
big red
guys
flag
that was interviewed for this this article. It says state licensed growers are quote going to have to scale back and are quote on a painful downsizing curve. Adding that some farmers are going to go out of business while others are preparing to reduce crops under the new legal system.
Yeah.
So on the upside, though, here we always like to bring a little positive spin to the news. From a consumer,
come on, bring it.
From a consumer standpoint, you're going from a situation where you had a fairly balanced supply and demand system to a system that is extremely slanted in favor of the consumer. There's going to be a huge amount of supply. You know what I mean? Even counting all the growers who go out of business, everything else, the ones that do survive are still going to have bills to pay and stuff like that. They're going to try to get as much as they can out of, you know, what their capacity is. So supply is going to go up. Prices are going to come down. You know what I mean? Like on the average, I think in California, we can look forward to a steep decline in the, at least, you know, down to the per gram price, you know, over the counter.
Right, that's what our friends in Oregon and Washington have been saying as well. But I was hoping that was going to be like this 2-year hump, you know, where you'd have just demand and it wouldn't matter what the supply, we'd go through it because you're going to get all that other out-of-state traffic coming into California, so they'll be able to also partake. So well, I would say there would be like a 1 to 2 year swing there.
Oh, probably.
You're still the price will still stay the same.
It's not going to be an overnight
because people are also going to. I mean, you got to remember, there's going to be taxes and fees and all these other things associated with it.
Right.
So I think the price is still going to be what the market is used to. It's just that profitability is going to start to dwindle as time goes by. But anyways, let's move forward. I don't want to. That's boo-hoo. That's just a normal progression of industry